What percentage of mutations are beneficial? I Google. Many harmful mutations are fatal. We will assume that 90% of the DNA is non-coding and that mutations are almost always neutral. For the remaining 10%, we will assume that half of the mutations are neutral, and of the rest, 9 out of 10 are harmful and 1 is beneficial. So, real slim chance that you're going to get a beneficial mutation. And this is just an assumption they're making. They don't show any.
Kent, you're missing a big part of the equation here. Natural selection, which you've accepted as true. It doesn't matter if beneficial mutations are rare. As long as the number is more than 0%, they're going to get selected for. I'm defining beneficial mutations as something that helps create new proteins that help the animal survive long enough to reproduce by adapting to its environment. But let me put this in terms that Kent Hovind can understand. Kent, you like to make horrible analogies to cars when talking about biological evolution, right? Well, imagine taking a machine with a complex engine like a car and making a random change to that engine. Do you think the chances are high that that change would make the car more efficient or run better? No, the car would likely stay the same or it would break down. Well, it's the same thing with deleterious or harmful mutations. Okay, to recap, beneficial mutations may become more prevalent because of natural selection. Harmful mutations may cause genetic disorders like cancer, and so those animals are less likely to survive because of natural selection. So if Kent says that 1% of mutations are beneficial, and he accepts that natural selection is true, then that would mean that mutations are selected for by natural selection, and this causes animals to become more complex and biodiversity to increase. Kent accepts evolution and he doesn't even realize it. He just wants to do it using his word kind, like 2 rabbits can be the same kind because they can bring forth. But if you have 2 types of rabbits that can no longer interbreed, well, they're still the same kind because they're rabbits and they had a common ancestor. Well, that's evolution.
Good or beneficial mutations. Below is a picture of a black jaguar. This color mutation is good because it helps the jaguar to hunt at night, blending into the nighttime landscape. Well, the regular jaguars hunt in the daytime, and all the spots confuse the people they're chasing, or the animals they're chasing, and it blends in with the grass in the forest. You might think this is beneficial mutation. A, it is still a jaguar. B, it's a color change, okay? It didn't get a new structure, it didn't get any wings, didn't carry around a machine gun to shoot the deer down.
Kent, you said it yourself. This animal is jet black, so he can hunt at night where he doesn't have to compete with all the other jaguars that hunt during the day. I'm sorry, how is different color fur not a new structure? Fur is a defining characteristic of mammals, and it can have so many uses like waterproofing, sensory functions, protection, and in this case, camouflage of the jaguar. So you have jaguar fur that's a radically different color, and it completely changes how the animal camouflages itself and what time of day it hunts. I'm sorry, but this is clearly a new structure. Oh, but he didn't get a machine gun. That's stupid.
Effects of mutations, beneficial. Mutations often produce proteins with new or altered functions that can be useful to organisms in different or changing environments. The fruit of the Tahiti lime is seedless, a result of polyploidy. Do you really think a seedless fruit is beneficial to the fruit? How are you going to get more babies? Seedless fruit is beneficial. It might be beneficial to the one eating it. It's not beneficial to the lime. Hello? That's a special kind of stupid when they get that desperate to use that, okay? Seedless is beneficial. Wow. How about
Farmers get more babies by removing a section of the lime plant and then transplanting it into the ground. This is called grafting. But it's not just farmers that grow these plants. Seedless figs date back to about 11,000 years ago, which is older than Kent thinks the universe is. The fact that these plants have flourished, with 20% of wild fruit plants being seedless, proves that parthenocarpy, or the trait of being seedless, is beneficial to the plants and that they are favored by natural selection. There are lots of benefits, like being able to grow in areas without depending on pollinating insects like bees. And some plants, like watermelon and eggplant, have seeds that can produce substances that make them deteriorate and rot faster.
How about sickle cell anemia? Sickle cell is very rare, about 200,000 cases in the United States. Treatment can help, but the condition can't be cured. Requires medical diagnosis, lab tests or imaging always required. Chronic, it can last for years or be lifelong. Okay. Normal blood cells, by the way, have the absolute perfect shape to get maximum surface area to interact with their environment to carry oxygen. Sometimes the red blood cells are sickled, like a sickle you cut weeds down with, you know, the old-fashioned sickle. The cell collapsed, and they call it sickle-shaped sickle cell anemia. Now, if it's sickled, if the blood cell has sickled or turned to long skinny, and now it can't carry near the oxygen, can't carry enough oxygen. So the people are tired all the time. When they have sickle cell anemia, they're tired, worn out all the time. Sickle cell trait provides a survival advantage against malaria fatality over people with normal hemoglobin in regions where malaria is endemic.
Ah, did you notice that, Kent? Notice how it says the sickle cell trait, not the sickle cell gene. If you're gonna quote mine, try not to include something that debunks your whole dishonest argument. This is from 23andme.com. Sickle cell anemia is a genetic disorder characterized by anemia, episodes of pain, and frequent infections. A person must have 2 HBS variants in the hemoglobin subunit beta gene in order to have this condition. People with just one hemoglobin S variant in the HBB gene are called carriers. So, to try and simplify this, if you inherit this mutated gene from both of your parents, you have the full-blown disease. This is called having the sickle cell gene. If you only inherit it from one parent and your other hemoglobin gene is totally normal, you will have none of the symptoms of SCA, and you will also have a resistance to malaria. This is called having the sickle cell trait, so it's like the best of both worlds. Now, the distinction between these two terms is extremely important. It's literally life or death. I can understand why people get confused about them, however, Ken Hovind has had this explained to him multiple times, like in the Rutgers debate, and yet he still parrots this talking point, along with his corny joke. Oh yeah, he's also a racist.
One of the problems with sickle cell anemia, which is a disease that only black people get, the red blood cell, instead of being shaped like a donut, it caves in, so it looks like a sickle. So because they can't carry much oxygen on their red blood cells, they don't get malaria as easily. And they're claiming this is one of the best examples of a beneficial mutation. So it's beneficial to have sickle cell anemia because now you don't get malaria. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel if you think that's a good example to use, okay? Currently, 250 million people worldwide carry the gene responsible for sickle cell and other hemoglobin diseases. Each year, about 300,000 infants are born with a major hemoglobin disease worldwide.
Well, we've had a lot of fun today, but before I end the video, I'd just like to take a few moments to show my gratitude to the viewers of this channel, to say thank you and to give some quick shout-outs. To anyone who views my videos, leaves comments, or engages with my content in some way, thank you. This channel is still very new, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. Smash that like button and then gently tap the bell icon to get notifications as soon as I upload new videos, if YouTube feels like it. I made a shiny new Twitter page for this channel, even though Twitter is fucking awful, but the link will be in the pinned comment anyway, along with my Patreon link if you'd like to support the channel further. I'd like to give a shout out to Dapper Dino for showing one of my videos on his Kent with Bent livestream. If you haven't seen an episode of Kent with Bent yet, I would highly recommend it. I'm in that stream chat pretty much every week, and it's a lot of fun. And shout out to Dave Dalafiore, I hope I pronounced that right, for giving me a shout out in his video as well.
What the fuck?
We both make pretty similar content, but I'll be putting links to both channels in the pinned comment. But if there's any topics about Kent Hovind or other topics you'd like me to make videos about, please leave them in the comments. But anyway, smash that like button, remember to pay your taxes, and I hope you have a nice day.